My name is Dhruv Baker, and I'm on a mission to discover the very best of Croatian cuisine. Welcome to Zadar, voted the best European destination for 2016. Zadar is an ancient city over 3,000 years old, a city with a dramatic and often violent history, but one that's emerged from those troubled times stronger than before. Ask anyone in Zadar and they'll tell you their city has the most beautiful sunsets on earth, and it looks like I'm just in time to judge that for myself.
Zadar is the urban centre of northern Dalmatia as the administrative, economic and political centre of the region. Take a couple of hours to wander around, a real feel for the place, a wonderful mix of the old and the new, a reflection of Zadar and its constant evolution. The city is full of cafes, bars and restaurants, ideal for a coffee and some people watching.
Dhruv, we are now at the site of the most iconic symbols of Zadar. It's the Church of Saint Donat, and it dates all the way back to the 9th century.
Wow, and who was Saint Donat?
That was the bishop of that time.
Okay, well, I think it's amazing that despite Zadar's often pretty difficult history, it's managed to survive and, as you said, become such an important icon of the city.
There are musical performances. Because of the round shape, it has extraordinary acoustic features.
It's wonderful.
This is Cale Larga, and it is the main and the most famous street in the whole Zadar. Some people even say that this street was here even before the city, because it's on the place where old Roman roads were. Yeah. And now it is actually the place where Zadar people come to have coffees and go to restaurants and relax and have walks.
Well, I think speaking of restaurants, it's probably time to go and find somewhere for lunch.
Oh, yes.
Hotel Yadera, just outside Zadar, prides itself on its ultra-luxurious spas and wellness centre, top-class cuisine, sleek design and wonderful location overlooking the Adriatic. The spas offer the most gentle and relaxing treatments through to much more vigorous Turkish hammams. The philosophy behind their wellness programme is based around water as the main element to a healthy lifestyle.
Well, Dhruv, this is what I call luxurious.
I could never get bored of this. The blue of the sea, the sound of the sea, sitting out here on the terrace. It's a perfect way to enjoy fresh Dalmatian seafood.
Our starter is a regional classic of cuttlefish risotto with langoustines, scallops, wild asparagus and the tangy cheese from Pag. Exactly what I want to eat sitting out here in the gorgeous sunshine.
By complete coincidence, I have a friend of a friend who not only lives in Zadar, but she is also a chef. I think she's going to be the perfect guide to show me around this wonderful city.
This is Zadar Market, where Petra buys all her fruit and vegetables, and I can see why. It's a huge collection of the freshest spring ingredients. She told me this is a favourite place to come, and I completely understand why.
I love that when we said, oh, we'll need about 4 potatoes, and now we've got like 12. Because whenever you see the stuff, it's impossible not to get carried away. And you come looking for one thing, and then you leave with like bags and absolutely.
And the radishes.
Yeah, just one bunch of the radishes.
There's a huge variety of fish in the market. Sea bream, bass, tuna, octopus, langoustines and much more. The only thing more striking than the choice of seafood is the freshness. It's all landed earlier in the day and sold within hours. The perfect spot to relax and have a contemplative moment is by Zadar's unique sea organ, where the breaking waves and the unique sound of this fascinating music instrument is one of the most serene places imaginable.
Now we have south wind, Hugo.
Yeah.
And when it's Bora, you can basically hear some kind of other sounds.
So the sound of the instrument directly reflects the weather and the wave.
Yeah, and the mood and everything. The mood from the sea, basically.
Drew, I hope you're hungry. As you can see, Mario made a lot of nice things for us.
Yes, I am starving.
I'm glad. We have octopus, we have anchovies, which are only marinated, and he bought everything fresh today at the market.
Well, you know, I've had these before, which have definitely been overcooked. I've also had them before when they've clearly not been as fresh as they should have been, but I've never had them where they taste so... I mean, the sweetness is what's the first thing. I mean, I'd be quite happy with this as my lunch.
What you're eating, it's a red mullet, and it's a typical Dalmatian fish, and in old age that fish was most of it for the peasants. On the last couple of years, that cheap food was starting to build up themselves, and people now recognize that that value of that fish. And these green vegetables, what you eat, it's a mix, Dalmatian mix of the wild herbs.
They're delicious, absolutely delicious. Because it tastes so clean, you've got that grassiness.
Yeah.
There's like a fennel flavour, there's a peppery flavour. It's like this
everything wild, and it's mixed all together, and just a touch of olive oil, and you don't need anything else.
No, absolutely. Stick me outside, give me a glass of cold white wine and to see the sea. I don't need to find anything else, and I'd be delighted. So Petra took me around the market, she showed me around Zadar, we've had a wonderful day together, and I think it's pretty appropriate and fitting that we use the ingredients we bought. We spent the day eating, wandering around, so I think we should spend the rest of today cooking.
Cooking,
and
definitely.
doing a couple of dishes with those wonderful ingredients we found in the market.
Yes, we have everything fresh, then I think we will do some amazing, simple dishes that are typical for this area.
Fantastic. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get our potatoes cooking. They're going to take the longest. And what I'm going to use is a mandolin. If you haven't got a mandolin, just use a very sharp knife. And I'm just going to slice them straight into the pan.
Do you want me to prepare maybe something for the clams?
Yes, let's
some
start
garlic, I can slice it. That would be cool.
I think one, maybe two potatoes, no more than that.
That's enough, I think.
So this is for our salad. We're going to be serving two dishes. One which is the blitva with the potatoes, and because we couldn't decide whether to use scorpion fish or red mullet, we did what any greedy cook would do, and we're cooking with both.
Both. This smells delicious.
Just smells like the spring, doesn't it? You can smell the radish, the herbs.
Definitely.
And I'm just going to pick these. So we've got these lovely fronds. I'm not even going to chop them, I'm just going to pick them in.
Cool.
And these aren't too thick.
That's what you loved today.
So the olive oil, then a twist of black pepper, tiny bit of salt.
Simple. We can do the clams. Just put them...
So clams in before the garlic and everything? Just
before the garlic, first the clams.
So you pour away, you pour in the wine you think we'll need for that.
Okay, you don't have to spare the wine. Do you hear that?
So that's how we know we've got a hot pan. It's bubbling already.
And the lid on, and we'll just leave it for a few minutes until they're open.
Now, Petra, these beautifully filleted scorpion fish are so much smaller. I think those are going to take about another 2 minutes to cook, and these aren't going to take much more than 2 minutes to cook. So I'm going to just
amazing.
Drop them in.
Your first time making the scorpion fish.
First time eating it.
First time eating it. I can't believe it. Oh my God. You see the oils.
I'm just going to use the heat from that pan. I'm going to switch that one back on.
Switch here.
Put that down.
And look at this.
I'm just going to put this here for now, out of the way.
Smell that, please.
So Petra, I think we're ready to serve, right?
See how quick it was.
That was
now
minutes.
just the finishing touch.
Olive oil for
For the
that.
Swiss chard, of course, nothing without olive oil.
Well, Petra, I don't think I could have been happy with my first day here in Zadar. We've had fantastic food, we've had great hospitality, and over my shoulder, one of those world-famous sunsets right here in Zadar. So the last thing I need to do is finish that dish, and then we're going to go and enjoy it.
Definitely. I can't wait.
This morning, I'm exploring Nin, just outside Zadar. The town may be small, but its historical importance is enormous. This is where Croatia was first recognised as a legal state in 879. So in a way, this is the birthplace of Croatia. The Romans originally began producing salt here in the 1st or 2nd century, but later the Venetians ceased production and indeed all over the eastern Adriatic to protect their monopoly on salt. The salt works were subsequently reopened in 1955 and they've been producing excellent salt ever since.
Besides this normal kitchen salt, we are also producing flour salt. Flour salt is one of the best salts in the world. It is rich with minerals, with potassium, calcium, magnesium. It has higher percentage of natural iodine.
So I'm going to be able to taste both of them, and actually I can compare with them when I cook.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The museum at the Salt Works offers an interesting insight to the history and method of salt production. It's worth a visit just to look at the wonderful collection of black and white photos from the 50s and 60s. The original old town of Nin is built in the middle of a shallow lagoon accessed by 2 stone bridges. Duke Branimir ruled from 879 to 892 and was the first recognised ruler in a long line of rulers in Croatia's fascinating past.
This is the Church of the Holy Cross, often described as the smallest cathedral in the world. Now, it's not actually a cathedral, but it does have a unique elliptical form, which means it functions as a sundial and a calendar. Since I've been here in Dalmatia, I've cooked lots of fish, I've cooked a fair amount of meat, but what I haven't done is anything vegetarian. So using some of that wonderful produce I got in the market with Petra, I've decided to do a risotto, and I'm going to flavour it with wild asparagus, the wild herbs, and some of that regional sheep's cheese. So our first step is to heat up some olive oil. Okay, so chopped onions, and some finely chopped leeks as well. All we want is for them to become lovely and soft and add a touch of sweetness to the dish. Now, while they soften, I'm going to chop a little bit of garlic. Now, with the garlic, I'm going to finely chop some of the parsley stalks. We'll use the leaves right at the end as a garnish, but now I'm going to add some of those thicker stalks. Slightly woody, but when they've cooked down, they'll add a great flavour. And don't cut them too small. You want a bit of texture from them as well. And those are going to cook for about another 2 or 3 minutes, just to soften and to release that raw, quite strong garlic flavour. The onions have started to soften, just what we wanted. I can smell the garlic's cooked out. We haven't got that raw garlic flavour, and it's time to add the rice. Now mix that really well. What we want to do is coat each of those grains with that lovely oil that's now been flavoured with the garlic, the onion, that parsley. At this stage we add the white wine, and that's going to add a little bit of acidity to our lovely spring risotto. So as you can see, all that wine's been evaporated. You can see it started to dry up. So I made some vegetable stock earlier. You can of course use chicken, even fish stock could be lovely here, but we're making a vegetarian dish. Vegetable stock it is. And then give that a really good stir. Gently, so it starts to absorb. The rice will start to cook. And as that starts drying up, just add the stock bit by bit, ladle by ladle, keep stirring it. It'll take a bit of time, but trust me, it's well worth the effort. And now for that wonderful cheese, just take nice generous shavings of it. Doesn't matter if it starts to crumble. It's all going to melt into there anyway. And maybe just a few slices with a knife. She's in. And now a touch of butter. And that's going to really enrich the dish and make it even more creamy. And some of those lovely fresh herbs. So we had that parsley, the wild fennel, those lovely fresh herbs that Petra introduced me to yesterday. So our herbs. And I get that all a good stir. And now for the best part, to eat our delicious asparagus risotto.
And to finish, chopped wild herbs, some more cheese, a pinch of the fleur de sel from the saltworks, and a drizzle of good olive oil. I've met Petra at an organic winery called Ljubavlju, where we are going to have something to eat. They make 9 wines here, some of which are award winners, and all are produced organically within the strict eco-status guidelines. Tomislav adds mushrooms to raw peeled potatoes, carrots, red onions, the veal, salt, vegetable oil and a splash of water. As simple as that. He then places the whole lot under the peka, which he covers with hot embers.
Drew, have you seen ever how we make the peka, the dough?
No, I've never seen it. I've heard about it a lot, but I've never seen it in action.
Making it, really? I thought that you already tried it in action, everything.
Never with the full meal. We filmed making some potatoes, but I've never seen the meat in the process from start to finish.
From start to finish, now you see they already made a fire and everything earlier. And it has to be really, really hot. This is the peka originally that they made, and that's how everything started here, the winery and everything. And the peka is really originally comes from this area, not from the islands and everything. That's the new thing that appeared there, but this is something that is here from ancient times.
Well, the moment we've been waiting for.
Finally.
My worry is that the veal, which is such a, you know, there's not a huge amount of fat in it, would have dried out, but it's not. It's really lovely and juicy still.
That's the whole point of peka. When they put it inside, like you did it today, it's closed all the time, and you just have to turn it, flip it over once, like you've seen it, like you did. And that's it. That's the whole story. Nothing comes out. It's cooked in its own juices.
And all the juices from the meat have been soaked into the potatoes and into the carrot and the mushrooms, so...
Yeah, the vegetables is the best thing.
This family-owned donkey farm is one of only 2 left in Croatia. Darmar, the farm currently has 75 donkeys. In 1937, there were about 40,000 donkeys in Croatia, and today there are less than 8,000.
Petra, this is a pretty new experience to me. 1, I've never been to a donkey farm. 2, I've never tasted donkey milk. And 3, let alone trying to make something with it.
Then I'm really grateful that Mr. Damir is our host for today, because I haven't been on a donkey farm ever. I just saw maybe 1 or 2 donkeys at the same time, and this is really cool experience for me as well, to try the donkey milk and to do something with it as well.
Okay, well, you told me you bought these in the market.
Yes.
You bought me this lovely carob.
Yeah, that's the local ingredients, and people love to make all kinds of delicious cakes and everything from it. I think you'll love it. It's an interesting flavor.
Excellent. Then we've got some almonds, we've got some cocoa, we've got some fresh mint, and here we've got some of those lovely fresh strawberries which you just froze.
Yeah, I just froze them so that we get a little bit of freshness as well.
But I remember I read an article maybe 2 or 3 years ago in the UK, and there was a huge amount of noise about donkey milk and its health benefits.
Yeah.
And that's the other reason we're going to do a smoothie or a milkshake, because I understand that if you heat that to more than 40 degrees, you start killing all of the...
Normally,
losing all of the nutrients. So we'll make it completely raw. I mean, we saw it being milled.
Shall I step forward?
Or step back?
Backwards.
Okay, you drop them in.
One by one.
So Petra, this is exactly in keeping with your philosophy, right? Fresh, clean, healthy.
Definitely, and this is basically the healthiest breakfast I think I will ever have so far. I can't wait to taste this. This will be the first time ever that I made, actually you made something with donkey milk.
Yeah,
and
mine
I'm gonna
too.
try it. It's fresh, it's organic, so I think that we don't have to be worried about anything. Thank you.
So,
cheers.
cheers. Here's to another great day.
Interesting. Good job, Drew. Maybe I will hire you to write with me a cookbook.
Thank you.
Vinjerac is a beautiful town outside Zadar and one that perfectly encapsulates coastal Dalmatia away from the cities. Beautiful views, traditional stone houses, crystal clear water and plenty of coastal charm. This is a real find that Petra has told me about. Gonobarbetze is in the tiny town of Vinjerac. It is 100% worth the effort to make time to spend an afternoon here. Eddie, the chef patron, is self-taught and serves up incredible and original dishes. His infectious passion for food is a joy to witness, and his food is an utter delight to eat.
You know, Petra, for the first time, I think the first time since I've been in Croatia, I'm tasting that whole range of flavours that I haven't seen here before. The ginger, the orange, it's almost that Asian, Southeast Asian influence.
True, I can honestly say that I never had this meal prepared like on this way, with cheese, with calamari, it's completely different flavor.
After today's wonderful lunch, Petra and I decided that what we'd do is take the opportunity to thank Eddie for his fantastic hospitality and cook him a bit of food. So I'm going to do a very simple dish using these fantastic skate wings, and Petra's going to do a sort of traditional Dalmatian stew, but using this fabulously fresh leer fish.
Normally we do this traditional dish with a lamb, but since Eddie brought us this wonderful leer fish today, I decided to do it with a fish.
I like it. Right, so I'm going to start. So I'll start by doing the fish. So I'm just going to come along that centre line. I mean, this has got such a fantastic texture. Look at this.
Look, have you ever tasted leer
Do you know,
fish?
I haven't.
Do you know that in Croatia it's really popular, and the Japanese people are crazy about it.
Well, I can see
We do a lot of
why,
export in it, and it's often used for sushi, sashimi, and it's from the same family like tuna fish.
Yep.
But you wouldn't say it on the first sight because it looks like it's a white fish, and it exactly.
But it has that graining. It's got that almost like swordfish. If you look at the kind of texture of the graining. Okay, so that's your fish. Is that enough for you to start with?
That's enough.
So I'm going to put these in a single layer on the bottom.
And while you do that, I cannot resist but just to borrow a little bit from your fish. I hope you won't mind.
I know why you're doing this. That's because I stole all the peppers at lunch. Now you're stealing my fish to pay me back.
I have to pay you back just a little bit, at least. Now you can put this.
Same, just around?
Same, just around. Just a little bit so they get the taste of it.
Yeah. Sliced onions on top of the carrots. Yeah,
now,
we'll pop them all in.
All in. You love onions.
I do love onions.
But it's also normal that you put a lot of onions when you make that kind of stew. That's traditional here. And prošek. That's also from Eddie's place, homemade. And
I'm doing it slowly because the longer I take, the more I can smell it as it goes in.
Flavors. And just a splash of white wine.
How much
Not
is that?
too
About
much.
a quarter of that?
Not too much. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. But you wouldn't have forgotten those.
No, that's my favorite.
So again, this is like a little reminder of our market trip. The broad beans, the artichoke. So just scatter those in. And I really love this kind of cooking because it's fresh, it's clean, it's quick.
It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to be cooked, low heat, and then at the end we will just finish it with some wild fennel and of course olive oil and salt.
Now,
we
just lay that in. Here it's on a little crackle, just gently cooking. There's not an aggressive It's just that
you
gentle.
didn't want it to do
No, I want that to
Oh.
cook gently because it's such a delicate fish. The last thing I want to do is overcook this fish. Thank you. Have all of that. Now, we got the freshness from the parsley. Squeeze a lemon in there as well. A good amount of pepper. Tiny bit of salt.
Having tasted Eddie's food, it's nerve-wracking to cook for him, but I'm delighted he likes our dishes. The wonderful fish stew cooked by Petra, and my skate wings with capers and the purslane picked from this exact spot.
This is a wonderful place to start to explore mainland Dalmatia. Zadar is like a myriad of cities rolled into one, the old and the new sitting alongside each other, and it just seems to work perfectly.